I used to talk about the golden rule, right?
Yeah.
And then it's about the platinum rule. The golden rule is treat others the way you want to be treated. But if people are different, they may not want to be treated the way I want to be treated or led the way I want to be led.
This is good.
So platinum is lead them the way they want to be led. That took it up a level of consciousness for me and made me a far better leader.
Welcome to another episode of the Prosper Brief. I'm your host, Jeremiah Wynn, and today we are at Prosper Forum, and I have Derek Gaskins with me. He is the head of guest experience at BP. And Derek, first question I have for you, explain what head of guest experience means.
It's a great starting question. I think it means primarily that we put the customer first.
Yeah.
And so we use the term guest instead of customer. Much like Prosper Forum is teaching everyone here, you want to have that spirit of hospitality.
Yeah.
So leading guest experiences, merchandising, category management, promotions, marketing, loyalty, and everything, how it comes together to drive and engage sales with the guest.
I love that because in order to be a good host and for your guests, you have to understand your guests, right?
Love that.
And what we're going to be talking about today, though, is about when leaders and how we should understand and know ourselves.
Yes.
So let's get started on just this topic of emotional IQ. What does that mean, and what does it mean to you?
I think you summed it up, right? I was going to say at the heart of everything, I think everything starts with knowledge of self. And I think when you understand yourself, then you can empathize and start to understand others. So EQ, the way I've learned it and have, grown into leadership roles, let's say, is getting the best from others.
Yeah.
And sometimes helping them know themselves better. Like that sounds crazy, but not that many people truly know themselves and what motivates them, what their strengths are, what their opportunities are. And I think any good leader really seeks that out. And you want to understand people so you can motivate, inspire, and lead them.
What do you think is the biggest problem that happens when we negate all that? When we look at the person as they're just a worker bee, we look at them at that from that standpoint. What do you think we miss out on as far as like leading and trying to grow them and get the best out of them?
I think excellence is truly anchored in the human condition.
Yeah. And
so when you don't embrace and understand people, you become so analytical, so quantitative oftentimes.
Yeah.
When everyone talks about AI and robotics and all of that taking over, I think they forget human and the element that is essential.
Yeah.
So grounding yourself in people and humans, I think, unleashes creativity, innovation, achievement, and long term, it's about success.
Man, this is just, it's so deep, right? Where did this start within you? Where did this come from?
Like most things, it came from the upbringing, right? So I could go all the way back, being a product of Southeast Washington, D.C., two loving parents that were not educated the way that they made sure that their kids were and that the community was. My dad started a school in our home. And, I'm in Southeast D.C. and you read the press right now, Trump has troops marching on Washington, right?
Wow. Probably
the worst thing that you can do. When you want to turn something around, it's about the community and activating and involving people who are local. My parents were champions for that and literally educated thousands of people when they were not educated. When I was a kid, I was tutoring people who were older than me and preparing them for excellence. And it was just something that both of them committed to, part of their relationship. My dad, one of the mantras he raised us with was striving for excellence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our family motto is day by day, in every way, keep getting better and better. And we live by that. As I got into management, I learned, okay, that's the 1% rule, right? That's Kaizen. That's what that really is.
Yeah.
So that started it. And then I think as I learned more and had a quest for knowledge, it stoked the passion and a fire in the belly to get better. So when you're driven to exceed or to achieve, you want to figure out ways that you can keep doing it. Like I always say, winners win, right? Or win with winners.
Yeah.
You want that spirit, and the best way to do it is to know yourself, know others, how to motivate, define a goal, and then go after it.
Man, I'm resonating with so much about what you're saying because my dad at one point, he had a church school. I was homeschooled. My dad, him and my mom's values were always like doing everything with excellence.
Yes.
Driven. My dad actually has this whole program called Driven where it's like an acronym. So much of what you're saying,
Wow.
it resonates with me directly. So I'm like, wow, just so inspired by it. But the biggest thing that you're saying too is like just to know yourself. It's so important, right?
Yes.
And now at Prosper, we have the Leadership Edge tool, which is giving different organizations the opportunity to give this tool to their employees to understand what are they good at, what are they bad at, what are they curious on, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses.
Love it.
So we have tools like that. But for you, did you ever come across any tools like that in your career?
I did. Myers-Briggs, right? The OSI index. With BP, we actually use the predictive index. I actually took the Prosper tool this summer. David doesn't play, so he made us all take it.
Yeah.
So David
What did you think of it?
I thought it was right on point. It was, I guess, stratified in a way that I hadn't seen. So that stood out to me. There are 19 capabilities that are looped into the 4 different characteristics. And going through those, I even took some notes for you. So the thinking, the interacting, achieving, and leading. And each one of those 4, thinking as you would think, involves things like judgment. What's your mindset? What's your mental? How do you problem solve?
Yeah.
Are you innovative? Are you imaginative?
Yeah.
The interactive speaks about how do you work with others? So your team player, teamwork, collaboration, and some of your skills around that.
Yeah.
So it was a reaffirmation of things that I had done with Strength Finders.
Absolutely.
There's a book, Discover Your Hidden Strengths, which I think any aspiring leader should read and probably get their teams to take. Very simple test. This was much more detailed and I think is a powerful management tool because it gets a dialogue that you can have with your team members as they understand themselves, and actually better yet, they understand me or they understand you.
Absolutely.
And they know how to work and why you may come to a certain thing with a certain mindset and why your attitudes or your beliefs and what helps shape those.
One thing, when we were preparing for this podcast and we were just meeting each other, this conversation stood out to me because when I went, me and my wife, we were in counseling and we took a temperament test. My son took a temperament test. My wife took it, and we were able to understand ourselves so much deeper. Whereas my wife, she would always look at a lot of her strengths as weaknesses because they were different than other strengths that other people have,
It's amazing.
And then not only that, but me and my interactions with my son, there's certain things that I would have for him, certain standards I would try to uphold. And there were certain methodologies that I would use to try to rear him. And there was just, we would bump heads or things wouldn't happen the way I wanted. And it would start to make me feel like, oh, he's not built like me, or you know what I mean?
Exactly right.
But the truth was the way that I was trying to lead him, the way that I was trying to push him was completely opposite to what naturally works with his temperament. So our conversations that we had, we discussed temperament.
Yep.
And that's one thing that you said was big for you as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think how you do what you do is sometimes bigger than even the what.
Yeah.
So that how and understanding the temperament is perfect. And didn't go as far as you. I actually applaud you. That's huge.
Yeah.
In a familial setting, my wife and I have done things like that, but with the kids, I have picked up on their archetypes and how they operate and what helps them flourish. And to your point, it's different. I mean, every individual is just that. It's an individual. And, my daughter's probably more like me and needs that kind of push, and she's achievement oriented, goal oriented, and was that way from a toddler age.
Yeah.
Whereas my son is much more empathetic. He's a natural born leader, but sometimes I have to be careful because his style is different than mine. His temperament's different. So to motivate him and get the best from him took time. And I think those are areas where you excel as a parent, you excel as a leader, because truly as a parent, you need to lead your children. I mean, that's part of it. You lead your family.
Yeah.
And so that has absolutely been something that's been inspirational and pivotal for me as a major focus. But again, it all goes back to know thyself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you know yourself and what makes you happy, then those closest to you, family, in a work setting, your work family, truthfully, how are you going to get the best out of them?
Absolutely.
A lot of that has to do with temperament. What are their preferences? Things that motivate one person may actually discourage someone else. And knowing that has made me a more impactful and effective leader. I used to talk about the golden rule, right?
Yeah.
And then it's about the platinum rule. The golden rule is treat others the way you want to be treated. But if people are different, they may not want to be treated the way I want to be treated, or led the way I want to be led.
This is good.
So platinum is lead them the way they want to be led. That took it up a level of consciousness for me and made me a far better leader.
That's great. I love that, man. I'm about to fall out this chair. Is it possible to lead someone who doesn't know their self?
It's hard. It's really hard. I think the only way you can lead them is to lead them to understand themselves so that then they can understand others.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's impossible, but you're going to have your work cut out for you. And I mean, early on as a manager and a leader, I think back to my career when I was at P&G or I was at Giant Eagle and I was newly leading teams, especially trying to lead people who were older than me and more experienced than me. I may not have known myself that well at that point. So I struggled. So trying to make sure that we unmask and we get to know ourselves, that opening or that knowledge, I think once you unlock that, you become more effective as a person.
Absolutely. Taking this temperament test, going through counseling, understanding myself more, it's unlocked a lot inside of me as well, right? But a lot of my strengths, just like I said with my wife, a lot of my strength, because people around me didn't understand it, I would be pigeonholed. I would, there'd be a cap. Opportunities I would not receive because they're used to seeing certain things. So if you have someone who comes to you, right, and you're leading them, and because they haven't really grasped, they haven't been empowered, right, throughout their professional career. So now they're coming to you with insecurities and they feel like their strengths are actually their weaknesses and they're constantly second guessing themselves. How do you lead someone to go past that?
No, that's really common. I mean, I think props to you for recognizing. I think that's one of the biggest challenges in the workplace. And what I liked about Strength Finders and that whole philosophy was it addressed that. It literally said, I can't always give you work that aligns with your strengths and your personality, preference, and profile type. But once I understand that as a good leader, that should be what I'm setting out to do.
Absolutely.
And so people who have these strengths that are latent or that they don't know about, once it's unlocked and it's unleashed, that's part of the process, right? So the whole team learns about each other.
Yeah.
Then as I start getting project work, I do my best to assign the work or structure it to, if this is your strength and you are a collaborative person and wants to get multiple functions involved, then I'm gonna give you a PMO type of project to lead. You may be reluctant to do that, but if that's part of your attitudinal strengths, I'm gonna align it with it. And I think people, like the light bulb goes off as they unlock and they realize like, wow, I'm actually good at that. Like this is something that I can uniquely do that others can't.
Yeah. So I might be a little crazy. So and I say that to say, I'm the type of person, if someone says, oh, I'm going to give you this because that's your strength and you're not that good at this one, so I'm not going to give you that.
Yep.
I tend to take offense to it, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, give me all of it. Like, I'll figure it out. How do you manage those type of personalities who, no, give me everything, And it's like you're trying to push them towards something that they're good at and not trying to make them feel slighted,
Yeah, I mean, I think you're a results-oriented, achievement-oriented type of person.
Yeah.
I'm very similar in many ways. And I think letting go was a big challenge for me. I can talk about when I went to business school, I purposely went to Northwestern because on a collaboration schedule, I'm more towards independent.
Yeah.
And I always had problems in group work because my standards might have been higher. And so if someone didn't rise to that standard, I wasn't just frustrated. I mean, sometimes it could be confrontational, truly, because I'm looking at, I'm trying to get an A+.
Absolutely.
And if you hold me back on that, there's going to be problems.
Yeah.
So I think part of it was learning to let go
and
trusting in others and becoming more collaborative. Did that mean that I had to go and give up what my strength is? Not really, right? Part of my strength is I'm entrepreneurial, I'm independent, I bring that. But I think understanding that also helped me, realize that to be more successful, I had to bring others along with me. That if I operated that way all the time, no one would want to be on my team.
Yeah.
It's like in sports, if you're a ball hog, no one wants to play with you. But if you can facilitate and bring along others, you then change the game.
Yeah, and I think I gave you that example of how I felt like I'm just KD, right? Like I'm talented in my own right. You know what you're doing. Like y'all take care of what y'all got to do, and I'm gonna take care of what I got to do. And
I love that. You know, being a DC boy, I was like KD, probably our best homegrown talent since Lynn Bias.
How do you get people to buy in who are that just they're self-starters? You know, they are balanced. They know what they're doing. How do you get them to buy in with the full team when others may have more obvious weaknesses?
Yeah, I think painting that big picture. Buy-in is all about the end state. So we just had a session here where I think the number one objective that he put up was start with the end in mind, right? And work backwards. Wow. So if we want to win, here's how success in this project looks. Yeah. And for us to reach that, everyone must play their role. So you start painting that picture and you get that self-motivated, independent person, the KD who just wants to score and be an assassin and a sniper out there, which he is. Yeah. But when he went to Golden State, Steph got him to buy in. And Steph was uniquely served to play with him because he was humble enough to take a back seat, but he really wasn't taking a back seat. Yeah. Both of them were shining. And I think winning championships is what it's all about. Now, KD can be in iconoclast and say, I don't care about those rings. Yeah. We know he cared about those rings.
Man. And how do you get those leaders like Steph, right? To like, it feels like you're taking a step back, but you're not taking a step back. Like, how do you convey that message to your teams?
It is a delicate one. It's time. It takes a lot of rapport. You have to invest in each other. Yeah. And that's what I meant by work family.
Absolutely.
I always try to bring a family type atmosphere because I'm driven, right? Yeah. So just like your dad's school and program, I look to have and put my all into work. So if I'm gonna spend more time at work than I do at home, it better have some fun to it, right? Yeah. It has to be some things that bring personal satisfaction. Yeah. So I think with those types of people, if they want to win or if they want to achieve whatever their goals are, you make that part of the team goals that you're doing, then they'll buy in.
Wow. What kind of personal satisfaction do you receive at your job, at work?
I think the beauty of retail is, I always say your scoreboard is right there every day. I actually had a call with one of my heads of ops for TA, and we were just talking this morning. And I can move prices, and tomorrow I can see the impact. Did it work or didn't it?
Really?
I mean, retail.
Wow, that's crazy.
Retail's
that's a lot of power, man. That's crazy.
We say speed of retail. Wow. Because you can make a change, but that also means that you can fail too. Like you can be wrong. You can do something that you believe is absolutely correct, and immediately, if you don't own it and recognize it and adjust and change, you can watch quarter over quarter as things are happening. Wow. Look at Target, right? Their CEO finally had to step down. It still didn't stop the bleeding.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. Because we're talking about like the psychology of leadership. So even in that aspect, right? Like you don't have time to be prideful and say, no, it's going to work. Exactly. You have to act like immediately.
Yeah. Retail will humble you. I always say retail is details, and it just moves so quickly. We used to joke within Gecko when I worked at Giant Eagle and we were launching a fuel brand. Yeah. That you can go from Billy the kid, everyone, Derek is the man. He launched his Gecko brand. We got fuel perks. We're doing all this, to Billy the scapegoat very quickly. Wow. One bad quarter, 1 month of fuel margin not being what it's supposed to be. Now suddenly, what are you doing about this? Yeah. How are you and the team going to turn this around? You've lost profitability. So some people love that. Yeah. Some people, it will eat them up. It's also the pace of it. Yeah. I'm adept at multitasking. I know that there's psychologists that say no one is. But in retail, you have to be, because you have to be able to live in the moment while also keeping a long-term vision and a goal. I always joke when people are like, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 3-year plan? I'm like, retail is what's my week-to-week plan to keep things running, to keep the business in order. But you honestly do need a very long-term process. When you think about the best retail brands and leaders, they have very long-term plans. They empower their people in the day-to-day, and they are proactive in real time to make things happen.
Man, I'm glad you said all this, because I know you told me that you had like a psychological evaluation. Like you spent time with a therapist before you got your job, but they have to make sure you are mentally strong. Like, what do you think that really the point of that was, man?
I think the real story that I told you was I thought I was going to ruin the job because they thought I was crazy. No, but part of the assessments, and most big companies do this. When I graduated from Northwestern, Goldman Sachs did it, P&G did it, Giant Eagle had their version. BP's was probably the most robust that I've ever done.
Okay.
Because it was standardized tests, it was psychological and predictive index type of profiles. And then it was a psychiatrist session where you literally sit with a psychiatrist. And I remember saying, what are we going to talk about for 4 hours? Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
But we got deep, and it was around your motivations, how you were reared, your parenting style, your relationships. Where do you go when you're stressed? What are your safe behaviors? What makes you uncomfortable? How do you embrace change?
Yeah.
Now that I'm on the other side, I see why they do it. You know, the main goal of BP is they want to hire people who are 2 levels above where they're being hired. Yeah. So if you're being hired at an executive level, they want to make sure you have the potential to grow. Big global company, and you know, they could come to me 10 months from now and say, you're moving to the UK. And if I looked at it and was intimidated by that, then I wouldn't be the right person for the role.
Wow. So this reminds me of Deion Sanders, another sports reference.
Yes.
He said when he looks for a quarterback, he wants to see 2-parent household.
That was controversial.
You know,
that was.
I don't know if I can say it on there, but
I felt him.
but then he said for the defense, he wants single-parent household, hungry, a dog. Like, that's kind of what they're looking for, and that's how in those type of roles, it's like it's becoming very scientific. Like, you can do this role, but we need to make sure you can handle it, and your background has everything to do with your present, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason that was so controversial is because it showed a very fixed mind state. Mm-hmm. And I think Deion got heat for that, rightfully so, because people can change. Yeah. We're products of environments, but your environment, as that changes, you as a product can change, right?
Absolutely.
So I was joking about with Meredith before we started about Iowa, right? Mm-hmm. I was inner city, Southeast D.C, went out to Iowa, rural. You would think, no way will he survive out here. Mm-hmm. I thrived, right? Yeah. The environment changed. I changed. So I think that's the first part. But his greater point wasn't lost on me. Yeah. And what he was trying to say was he wanted a mentality. And in some ways, he wanted someone who was a little more hungry. Yeah. Not as comfortable, not as analytical, maybe not as disciplined for his defensive roles. Yeah. Whereas for his quarterback, he wanted someone that was a little more calm, stoic, steady, disciplined. You know, when I talked about the predictive index, one of the things that BP has is steady, and they have flexible, right? If steady's right here and flexible's here, I'm like right here. Like I'm left of flexible. Gotcha. So Deion would have been like, maybe I don't want him to be a quarterback because I want somebody steady. Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean. That's the danger in it if you read too much into it. But I think overall, he was using it as an archetype. Yeah.
It's actually funny, right? Because this is like a psychological thing that they did from you. But you do see people, especially just historically, who will not hire you because of the color of your skin, because of there is a prejudice. How do you walk that line of this is who you are because of where you come from, and this is who you are because you've been evaluated, right? Like, how do you walk that line?
No, it's real. And I mean, my early days with DEI, one of the things that I used to talk about was, you know, here I'm a black male who's broken through ceilings. Yeah. But someone sits down and they also went to a Big Ten school. Oh, that's a sharp dude. Because he went to the same school I went to. Yeah. You know, when I was at Yesway, the CEO, he also went to Kellogg School of Business as I did. And I knew that naturally gave me a bit of an advantage. Mm-hmm. I think understanding that and being intentional, it's hard. You know, people say they are, it is hard. And you have to step outside of your comfort, fish in different pools. Yeah. So for me, that's what I like about retail. I've been able to find folks with no education at all, straight from the stores, work their ways up, that became directors of merchandising, directors of marketing, that if I were at P&G, would have never happened. Really? P&G is like, we're recruiting from, 4 or 5 schools, and if you don't fit this profile, you're out. Wow. Retail's a little different. Hospitality's a lot different. So I think when you're in the service economy, the reason you and I keep going to sports is because it's apropos. Yeah. It's a meritocracy in many ways. And if you have passion, fire in the belly, you work hard, you can learn, you embrace change, you're comfortable in uncomfortable situations, you rise straight up. Same thing in sports.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of passion, don't you have a quote saying that you can't teach passion? Is that something you told me?
I always say fire in the belly. You can't fake it. You can't be taught it. You either have it or you don't.
Yeah. Can you take us through like your core values? I know we kind of discussed this. I think it'll be great to share with the audience. What are the core values that you stand on that have helped you to get to where you are right now in your career?
I actually smiled when you talked about your dad's program because one of mine is excellence, right? Mm-hmm. So whatever you do, big or small, do it well or don't do it at all. Like my kids have heard that their whole life. Yeah. I don't care if you clean in a bathroom, it better be the best cleaning of the bathroom that's ever been done. And take pride in that. So I don't care if it's measly, how you do little things is how you do everything. So excellence will be number one. Passion would be number two. So I think you cannot fake it. It's either in your belly or it's not. The third is actually seeking discomfort. Sounds crazy, but sounds great. I hunt. I do things that physically put me at a limit, that pushes me into very uncomfortable situations because it helps me grow. So I think that's the most important thing. And then the last thing is more around mentality and mindset. So it's having that positive winning mindset and using the other three to create an atmosphere where you win. So absolutely. I'm not a Raiders fan, but the just win baby certainly resonates. And like I told you, win with winners has been one of mine. And what's the point of playing if you're not going to try to win a championship? Absolutely, man. Derek, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. No this doubt. Is like we set up 2 different dates. We tried it, didn't work, but I'm glad it all worked out because I got to see you in person. Oh, man, absolutely. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. We'll see you guys next time on the Prosper Brief.
Hey, Derek. Hey. I just had a follow-up question. What's his famous quote? Your fire in the belly? Is that what? Oh yeah, passion. Can't fake it. Yeah. You either have it or you don't. How do you disseminate between like passion in the belly and maybe something you ate? Because I eat big. So she's right. Love you. Thank you for being with us. Absolutely. For me, it's a personal pleasure.